Have you ever noticed something strange in relationships? A woman might say she wants a nice, emotional, always available man, but somehow she ends up attracted to someone completely different. Why does that happen? Why do some men follow all the right advice, yet still get ignored, rejected, or friend-zoned? And why do other men who seem calm, mysterious, even a little dangerous, naturally command attraction and respect? The truth is uncomfortable. Most women will never openly explain the psychological triggers that actually drive attraction, not because they are lying, but because many of these behaviors operate subconsciously. Centuries ago, the political philosopher Niccolò Machiavelli wrote about power, human nature, and influence in ways that still apply today. His ideas reveal something most men are never taught. Human attraction isn't always built on kindness alone. It's built on perception, power, emotional control, and strategic behavior. In this video, we're going to break down the uncomfortable truths about attraction and female psychology that many men only discover after years of painful experiences. You'll learn why being too available kills attraction, the psychological reason mystery creates desire, how subtle power dynamics shape relationships, and the mindset that makes a man respected instead of ignored. This isn't about manipulation. It's about understanding human nature, so you stop making the same mistakes most men repeat for years. Because once you see these patterns clearly, you stop chasing approval, and you start building the kind of presence people naturally respect. Now let's start with the first uncomfortable truth most men never hear. 1. The truth about attraction versus what women say. One of the most uncomfortable realities men face is the difference between what people say they want and what they emotionally respond to. Many men grow up believing that being endlessly agreeable, overly available, and constantly pleasing will create attraction. But in reality, attraction is driven more by perception of strength, independence, and emotional stability. Women may describe their ideal partner as kind and supportive, yet they are often drawn toward men who demonstrate confidence, boundaries, and calm leadership. This contradiction isn't deception. It's simply how subconscious attraction works. 2. The danger of being too available. Machiavelli emphasized that scarcity increases value. When a man becomes constantly available, replying instantly, canceling plans, prioritizing a woman above everything, he unintentionally lowers his perceived value. Attraction thrives when there is a balance between attention and independence. The man who protects his time, maintains hobbies, friendships, and ambitions, creates a sense that his life has momentum beyond the relationship. That lifestyle signals status, discipline, and purpose. 3. Emotional control is power. Machiavelli believed that controlling emotions was a key element of influence. In relationships, emotional stability is one of the strongest attraction triggers. When conflicts arise, many men react impulsively, arguing, defending, or seeking validation. The man who remains calm under pressure communicates psychological strength. Women often observe how a man handles stress, jealousy, criticism, or disagreement. Emotional composure builds respect and prevents unnecessary drama from controlling the relationship. Mystery creates curiosity. Predictability can slowly kill attraction. When every thought, plan, and emotion is immediately revealed, there is little space for curiosity to grow. The man who maintains a sense of mystery by focusing on personal goals, exploring hobbies, and sharing his life gradually creates intrigue. Curiosity leads to emotional investment. The more someone wonders about you, the more mental space you occupy in their thoughts. 5. Boundaries reveal self-respect. Machiavelli wrote that respect often emerges when a person demonstrates that they cannot be easily controlled. In relationships, boundaries protect dignity and self-worth. Men who tolerate disrespect, manipulation, or constant emotional tests eventually lose attraction. On the other hand, men who calmly enforce boundaries communicate that their time and values matter. This does not mean aggression or dominance, it means consistency, integrity, and self-respect. 6. Social proof and lifestyle attraction. Humans naturally gravitate toward individuals who appear respected by others. When a man builds a fulfilling lifestyle, career progress, physical fitness, social networks, hobbies, and passions, he naturally generates social proof. Women are often attracted to men whose lives appear purposeful and exciting. A man who invests in his growth becomes more intriguing than someone who revolves entirely around the relationship. 7. Understanding female emotional tests. In many interactions, women subconsciously test a man's emotional strength. These tests may appear as teasing, playful challenges, or moments of emotional tension. Men who respond defensively may appear insecure. The man who responds with humor, composure, or light teasing shows confidence and emotional intelligence. Understanding these tests prevents unnecessary conflict and allows attraction to grow naturally. 8. Sexual confidence and emotional tension. Attraction also involves the balance between emotional connection and physical chemistry. Men who lack confidence often hesitate, overthink, or rush intimacy. The confident man reads emotional signals, builds tension gradually, and prioritizes mutual comfort and respect. Emotional connection combined with confident leadership can transform ordinary interactions into memorable experiences. 9. The ultimate Machiavellian insight. The final truth Machiavelli hinted at is that people are drawn toward strength of character. When a man builds discipline, independence, and purpose, he becomes less dependent on validation from others. Ironically, this independence makes him more attractive. Women remember men who are calm, grounded, and self-directed. Because such traits are rare in a world driven by approval and insecurity, there is a truth about attraction that most men discover the hard way. Not through books, not through advice, but through painful experiences. You follow all the right rules. You are respectful. You are supportive. You try to be the perfect boyfriend. And yet somehow, the attraction fades. Meanwhile, another man appears and calm, confident, slightly mysterious, and suddenly the dynamic changes. This is where many men begin to notice something uncomfortable. Human attraction doesn't always follow the rules people say it does. Centuries ago, the political thinker Niccolò Machiavelli studied human behavior and power dynamics. His observations weren't about romance, but about human nature itself. And many of his insights still apply to relationships today. Let's explore the uncomfortable truths most men never hear. 1. Attraction is not always logical. One of the biggest mistakes men make is believing attraction works purely through logic. If you are kind, attentive, and supportive, attraction should automatically follow. But attraction is not a business transaction. It's emotional, it's psychological, and often subconscious. A woman might logically want a stable and kind partner, but emotionally she is drawn towards someone who radiates confidence, independence, and calm strength. This is why men who constantly try to earn affection sometimes lose it. They focus on pleasing rather than being someone worth pursuing. 2. Being too available reduces value. Machiavelli famously wrote that people value things more when they are scarce. This principle appears everywhere. Luxury brands, exclusive clubs, rare opportunities, and surprisingly, it applies to attraction as well. When a man becomes too available, he unintentionally lowers his perceived value, replying instantly every time, canceling personal plans, making her the center of his world. Instead of creating excitement, this behavior removes mystery and challenge. The men who remain memorable maintain a full life. They have goals, friends, ambitions. A relationship becomes part of their life, not the entire center of it. 3. Emotional control creates respect. One of Machiavelli's core ideas was that self-control equals power. In relationships, this principle becomes extremely important. Conflicts are inevitable. Misunderstandings happen. Jealousy sometimes appears. The average man reacts emotionally. He argues. He defends himself aggressively. He tries to prove he is right. But the man who remains calm communicates something powerful. He cannot be easily shaken. Emotional stability signals maturity and strength, and respect often grows faster from composure than from arguments. 4. Mystery fuels curiosity. Predictability may create comfort, but it rarely creates fascination. If someone knows everything about you immediately, there is no curiosity left. Machiavelli understood that influence often comes from controlling information. In relationships, this translates into something simpler. The unforgettable man reveals his world gradually. He has interests and passions outside the relationship. His life feels dynamic and evolving. That mystery invites curiosity, and curiosity keeps someone thinking about you even when you're not present. 5. Boundaries reveal self-respect. Many men believe saying yes to everything makes them likable, but over time it creates the opposite effect. When someone tolerates disrespect, manipulation, or constant emotional drama, they unintentionally communicate something. Their standards are low, Machiavelli observed that people respect those who cannot easily be controlled. In relationships, this means maintaining boundaries. Not aggressively, not emotionally, just calmly. If something crosses your values, you simply say so. And if the behavior continues, you walk away. That quiet self-respect is something people rarely forget. 6. Lifestyle creates attraction. Attraction doesn't exist in isolation. It grows from the life a person builds. A man with ambitions, hobbies, and purpose creates something powerful. Momentum. Think about figures like Elon Musk or David Beckham. Their appeal didn't come only from appearance or charm. It came from the fact that their lives were driven by purpose. People are naturally drawn toward individuals who are building something meaningful. When a man invests in his fitness, career, friendships, and experiences, his lifestyle becomes part of his attractiveness. 7. Understanding emotional tests. In many interactions, women subconsciously observe how a man reacts to pressure. Sometimes this appears as teasing, sometimes playful challenges, sometimes moments of emotional tension. These situations aren't always intentional manipulation. Often, they are simply human curiosity about strength and character. If a man reacts with insecurity, the attraction weakens. But if he responds with humor, calmness, or playful confidence, the interaction becomes exciting rather than stressful. Understanding this dynamic prevents unnecessary conflict. 8. Confidence and intimacy. Attraction also grows through emotional and physical chemistry. Many men struggle here because they overthink, they hesitate, or they rush moments out of insecurity. Confidence in intimacy means understanding pacing, building emotional connection, reading signals, creating comfort while maintaining attraction. The most memorable experiences are not rushed ones. They are moments where emotional tension builds naturally and both people feel safe and excited. The ultimate truth: independence creates magnetism. Here's the truth that most men never fully understand. The most attractive men are never defined by someone else's attention or approval. They don't measure their value by how quickly she replies to messages. They don't feel validated only when she compliments them. And they don't rely on her affection to feel confident, successful, or worthy. Instead, their confidence comes from discipline, purpose, and direction. They wake up with goals. They invest in themselves physically, mentally, and emotionally. They pursue ambitions that excite them. They nurture friendships and passions that give life depth and meaning. This is the essence of independence, being emotionally, financially, and mentally self-sufficient. Machiavelli understood this centuries ago when he studied human behavior and influence. He observed that people are naturally drawn toward those who appear self-directed, competent, and powerful in character. When someone has their own life under control, they radiate a magnetic energy that cannot be faked or forced. When a man lives with this mindset, something extraordinary happens. He stops seeking constant approval. He no longer overanalyzes her reactions or worries about her validation. He communicates authentically instead of performing for attention. He responds to challenges calmly rather than emotionally. This shift in behavior changes everything. The man becomes more authentic, relaxed, and grounded. He doesn't cling. He doesn't beg. He doesn't overcompensate. And paradoxically, this lack of dependence makes him more desirable. Women and people in general sense independence instinctively. They feel it in the way he carries himself, the choices he makes, and the way he navigates life. This is not arrogance or coldness. It's a quiet confidence that says, "I'm complete on my own. I don't need anyone to define me." And that quiet confidence creates magnetism. Think of the men who naturally stand out in the world. Leaders, visionaries, and innovators, people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, or David Beckham, are not remembered for constantly seeking approval. They are remembered because their lives are full, intentional, and uncompromising. In relationships, the same principle applies. When you focus on building a strong, fulfilling life, attraction becomes a natural byproduct. You no longer chase attention. Attention begins to chase you. The uncomfortable truth is that trying to win someone's affection desperately rarely works. Chasing validation makes you forgettable. Independence, on the other hand, makes you unforgettable. Women, and people in general, are naturally drawn to self-sufficient, purposeful, and emotionally grounded men. They feel the energy of a man who is complete in himself, and they remember him long after he is gone. Attraction grows strongest not when you try to manipulate or please. It grows strongest when you create a life that is so compelling, so grounded, and so magnetic that people naturally gravitate toward it. And this is the final, powerful lesson that ties all the others together. You don't need to chase. You don't need to perform. You don't need to beg. When you build your independence, purpose, and personal power, attraction becomes effortless. Attention finds you. Respect follows. And your presence becomes unforgettable. This is the dark, uncomfortable truth that women will never openly tell you, but it is exactly how attraction, desire, and magnetism work at the deepest level.